Good morning, this is Sebastian. I am a clinical hypnotherapist and a spiritual teacher. This station, my YouTube channel, includes things from my group Ver La Paz, which is See the Peace in Spanish, and it also includes things about finding peace or reducing, in my mind, finding peace and reducing anxiety and stress are the same thing. So it's one of those two things, and I hope that you enjoy this video. I'll share some links with some books and other things at Facebook Lives that you can check out on my Facebook page, Ver La Paz, in the link below. Check it out. Also, please join the channel or like a few of the videos. It really helps to increase this process. Today, first I want to start talking about my trip to Bogota. I went to a doctor here in the U.S. and they found a hernia, which I knew I had because it popped out while I was lifting weights, and they thought maybe I had another hernia. And when I asked them how much everything was going to cost with my insurance, it was going to be about $10,000. That was with the insurance. So I was talking to a friend, an old teacher, a Spanish teacher of mine in Bogota, and he was saying that he had a really good friend who works for a clinic down there and wanted to ask him how much it would cost to get it fixed down there. It turned out that it cost a tenth. It cost about $1,092 for VIP treatment. Literally, I will be in one of 2 VIP rooms in the clinic where they do 10 of these operations a week. Anyway, I met with the surgeon, talked with him for an hour. I had met so many people at the hospital. They all really were good friends with my buddy, Oscar. And what I discovered was this culture was so beautiful and so loving, and it was amazing how much cheaper it was to live there. I don't know how much you could make there. I think the doctors obviously didn't make as much as they make here in the U.S., but the process of just like living there, like I think I spent the whole time I spent there, my hotel cost, and that was with the food that they served you at the hotel, $60 here, US dollars. And every time we went out to dinner, it was just crazy cheap how you could get meals. And I mean, we're talking large meals that they gave you, like one plate had 6 different things on it, the salads and fruits and soups and desserts and drinks of all kinds that were so special and different. There was this drink that I'd never had before. It was made from something fermented. It tasted like a yogurt. Like I was drinking a yogurt drink. It was tangy and oh gosh, I would drink it every day here if I had it. It had a lot of probiotics in it. Anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about that before I get into what I'm going to teach today about the inductive and deductive mind. I'm going to be reading from my book, Zeroing Out, which is in the description below. The story today is about PTSD triggers. What happened to me one day was I went to a movie, and it was called Silver Linings Playbook. And the first scene of the movie, I was with some friends, probably like 10 friends, and I had some popcorn in my lap and a bottle of water next to me, and I was just surrounded by love and happiness. And the story started, and the first scene of the movie was so real. It was like it was happening in the moment. I saw my mom, I saw my dad, I saw my dad beating up my brother. It was crazy. I just looked at my friends and I said, I've got to go. It just was too poignant. And then I got in my car and I started driving, and I realized that I didn't even know where I was driving. I had the good sense to call a friend of mine who was the therapist, and he talked me down from this PTSD moment. And when I discovered that I was at peace and I understood where I was like an hour away from my home. I had driven in the wrong direction with popcorn still in my lap. It was crazy. Anyway, what happens is there's this little place in your brain called the amygdala that triggers PTSD moments like that, and it causes the mind to be muddled, the heart to beat fast. The same kind of things happen sometimes, like what I noticed even while you're trying to relax. Like I saw this in my clients. As a hypnotherapist, I'm always trying to relax people. When there are some clients that just they don't know how to relax, and those are the people that I think I learn the most from, because their brains are triggered by negative responses from the past, people that kept them feeling insecure, are not safe. And what you have to do as a hypnotherapist is you have to help them retrain that part of the brain, the amygdala, which is neuroplastic. It's something that you can retrain. You have to help them train that part of it. What you have to do is you have to get to the place where you understand what it is that's keeping them from that peace. And that's where the inductive and the deductive brain comes. There's let's see. So your eyes and your brain have a symbiotic relationship. The movement of your eyeballs directly relates to the activity of your human brain. When the eyeballs move to the right, you use your right brain. When they move to the left, you use your left brain. With your eyes open, if you stare at one place for a long, silent moment, you'll notice that your mind slows down. I call this simply the blank stare. When a hypnotist like me asks you to gaze at a light or a spot on the ceiling while you're breathing slowly, he or she is basically decreasing your brain movement, which starts the process of the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what you want to know about the parasympathetic nervous system is that is the part of your body that relaxes. Say, for instance, you're in a precarious situation, and I'll just use the easiest one for me to share with you. Like, say you're driving, and your attention isn't quite on your driving, and a bicyclist comes out from the side, and you put your foot on the brake. Actually, what's putting your foot on the brake is not your own reasoning mind, because it happened way too quick. The sympathetic nervous system is that part of your brain that reacts quicker than your mind can think. That's the result of that little place in the brain called the amygdala. That's why it's called sympathetic, because it works in sympathy to the reaction that you need. So your foot goes on the brake quickly, you're scared, your heart stops, you notice the bicyclist is okay. Then what happens is you go, thank God. That first is the parasympathetic nervous system reset. It's kind of like when a dog is trying to fall asleep. He paws his bed, he circles the bed a few times, and then he finally drops down on the bed, and he goes like that. That is a parasympathetic nervous system reset in a dog. That pretty much has to happen for the body to begin to relax. And if you're in a tight situation, you're in an anxious situation, usually your body is going to create insomnia. And one of the reasons it's doing that is because of the deductive and inductive reasoning of the brain. We have to exit that part of the brain to sleep. Let me define what deductive is. Say that your brain is thinking 1 + 1 = 2, or what do I have to get at the grocery store, or it thinks in words. If this happened, then I should go here and there. I remember a situation where this person called her, and why did he text me that? And if you're thinking whys and hows, you are never going to be able to get to sleep. Basically, 1 + 1 = insomnia. You can't think in that part of the brain and fall asleep at the same time. There are two major parts of the thinking brain. The deductive thinking is the awakened and active state of the brain. If you can add 1 + 1 and you're using that deduction, if you can answer any kind of factual question in your brain, including things like, if this happens, that's the inductive part of the brain. If you're deciding something or looking at an uncomfortable problem from your past, you're utilizing the deductive, active, awakened, rational thinking side of the brain. So if you think about something deductively, you will never find peace or get to sleep. So when you ask the question why, I heard this from a spiritual teacher. Her name is Carolyn Mice or Mesh, I'm not really sure how you pronounce the last name, but she said, someone asked her, what's the worst thing that you can do for a mind when you're trying to be spiritual? And she said to ask the question, why? That changed my life. There's really nothing but rationality and irrationality in the question why. Like, you're always thinking about what possibilities. You're creating a scenario of possibilities in your mind that leads you down a rabbit hole of the subconscious mind. And in the subconscious mind, you can only think deductively and inductively. And you'll notice that what you hear in your mind are words. So if you're hearing words in your brain while you're trying to fall asleep, you're not going to go to sleep. The easiest, the simplest thing to do is to try to change the words to pictures. Like, say, for instance, you're thinking about your shopping list, what you have to get the next day, or the to-do list. Instead of thinking words in your mind, change them to pictures. See yourself walking into the grocery store or walking into a store, looking at the different fruit, picking out the fruit that's best for you. As soon as you begin to think in images, your brain changes its chemistry from an inductive and deductive thought to an imagination. And the imagination, you can fall asleep, but you cannot fall asleep when your mind is thinking in words. That's my big eye-opener today. And let's also say that when you're trying to meditate or thinking about doing meditation, the same thing is true. If you're thinking in words, then you're probably not going to be able to get into a meditative spiritual space, because words are probably a very low vibration. Now, if you're thinking about prayers, that's probably in the mental vibration. Like, it's higher than a deductive or deductive thought, but it's not the highest way. The highest way is to imagine in pictures. In my mind, there's a real spiritual concept behind that, because when we think in words, we think in our ego. If we were to share those words, we could only share them with people who are of the same like mind or speak the same language. Kind of like my trip to Bogota. If I speak in pictures, which I tried to do, like when I didn't know a word, or I say "qué significa," and they would share with me what something was by an image of it, because images are something we all share. We can all see a tree, even though we might not know the word in that particular language. If we show a person a tree, they can say, "Oh, árbol," if they're Spanish. I don't know what it is in another language. But That's the whole idea. So if you're having trouble sleeping or trouble getting to meditation, the concept is to get out of the thinking deductive or inductive brain and into a place where you're seeing things in images. And when you get into that place, I think you'll often find a place that's more peaceful, because even if you don't feel real peace in your heart about the past, you can imagine peace. We call this editing the past. You can take something from the past that was negative and actually change it by editing it in your mind, like reimagining it. What would have happened if dad didn't beat up my brother and mom and dad were happy, and instead of at night there being tumult, they came into the bedroom and they sat there and talked to us and comforted us. Those are the kinds of things that you'd want to see in your brain as pictures before you fall asleep. And if you can't imagine it with your own parents, you can think about, I call that like finding a mental equivalent, something maybe even you saw on television or in a movie, or a person that you know that is kind and loving. You can imagine that person being with you and calming you. But it takes imagination for that to happen in your brain. I hope this helps. Have a beautiful day, and don't forget to check out in the information below and like this video if it's something that has helped you. Take care. Sebastian, the author of Zeroing Out, The Secret Journey to the Meditative Mind.
Life can get really busy taking care of my home, 2 careers, and my family when your mind can't seem to get quiet to rest. That's when you need to use zeroing out.
I never thought I could quiet my mind in only 3 minutes. Zeroing out works.
I highly recommend Zeroing Out by Sebastian. It's been very helpful for me, and it's helped me navigate through difficult times. It's just a great book. Everyone should get it.
I tried the zeroing out technique, and I have to say it was surprisingly effective and very simple. On those days I'm going 90 to nothing and I just need to slow my brain down for a minute to get back on track. This really has helped me to do that.
Life gets hectic, and sometimes I just don't take the time to clear my mind, especially right after work. The zeroing out method helps me to leave my work at work, so I have a clear mind for the people at home I love.
I've been dealing with clutter in my mind for a long time now. Zeroing out, stop stress in 3 minutes, has completely cured me. Now I can meditate, get quiet, and I'm even sleeping better.
I can't believe how much zeroing out has helped me reduce stress. You've got to try it.
Work for me can get time-consuming and stressful at times, but zeroing out has really changed the way I look at my schedule and my time. Now I can leave my work at work, and I have more time and peace of mind to deal with the people that I care the most about.
Such a step above any other book I've ever seen about this topic, and it's such a simple technique, and I'm able to do it by myself, which I love. So I highly recommend it.